to Bochiknot and Bochiknot.com. My name is Nicole. In this channel, you will find everything you need to know to begin macrame, whether you are looking to do it as a hobby or you want to get to a more advanced level so that you can create your own designs. You will find everything macrame right here. So in today's tutorial, we'll be going over part 1 of a wall hanging layer series. So over the next several weeks, I will be teaching you guys a layer at a time, different knots, different sennets, different patterns that you can add to your macrame wall hanging piece. So today we'll be starting off with the first bottom or back layer of the wall hanging. And because it is the first part and the back part of the wall hanging, I wanted to keep it nice and simple since we will be adding several layers on top of it. And instead of the usual macrame fringe at the bottom, I have added crown knot tassels at the bottom instead. This week I will also be adding to my flower series. I have created 2 new macrame flower patterns that I will be uploading onto my Patreon this week, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and let's get started. Starting with the 12-inch dowel, we will start attaching all 16 200 centimeter long cords onto the dowel using a lark's head knot. Once you have all the cords attached onto the dowel, we will start the pattern. This pattern is super simple. All you have to do is make alternating square knot rows. The only difference between these square knots and the regular square knots that we usually make is that we're going to take the inner cords and use those as the working cords instead to make the square knot, leaving the outer cords in the middle. Then finish off the first row of square knots using the same technique. Now starting on the third row, we're going to make another row of alternating square knots, starting with the far left 4 cords. Then we'll continue on in between 2 square knots at a time until you've completed the entire row. Once you are done the third row, we will make 6 more rows so that you have 9 rows in total of alternating square knots. Once you have completed all 9 rows, we are going to cut the excess string from the bottom and use those to make some tassels at the bottom of this pattern. You will need about 64, so 8 strands of cord at about 30 to 35 centimeters long for each tassel. So 8 of these per tassels, and you have to make a total of 8 tassels, which means you need about 64 strands of these smaller length cords. So you will get a few from the excess cords at the bottom, but you will either have to take from your scraps or cut a few more strands to get to the total cords you need. Once you have cut the cords to about the same length, we're going to start making the crown knot tassels. So taking the first 8 strands of cord, we're going to separate them into pairs, and then we're going to start making the crown knot. Essentially, you want all ends to be within the loop of the next set of cords. Then start pulling on the ends on each side to tighten. Then taking the square knot pattern that you just made, we'll start from the left and take the first 4 strands right underneath the square knot, and we will put the middle of the crown knot that you just made through the 4 strands of cord, and then we're going to tighten all 4 ends. Before we secure the tassel, we want to make sure that the tassel doesn't actually fall down the 4 strands of cord. So taking the middle 4 strands of cord, we're going to make some overhand knots. We're going to make an overhand knot across from each other, and then we're going to make a double overhand knot with the other 2 cords to secure it. Once you have tightened it, we will pull the cords down, and the tassel should hang right below the square knot. We will now secure the tassel with 1 strand of 1mm cord at 15 centimeters long, using a gathering knot. If at any time throughout this video you guys are interested in the materials or supplies that I use, such as the different kinds of cord that I use in my tutorials, make sure to check out the links below in the description. To make this gathering knot, we will take one end, place it at the top, and bring it back up to form a loop at the bottom, and then start wrapping the tassel with the other end. If you guys can't see clearly how this gathering knot is made, make sure you check out my 50 knots and sentence tutorial that clearly details step by step how I make this knot. Once you have finished the gathering knot, all you have to do is pull the inner cords down so that there are no loose cords and the tassel looks nice and clean. The last step is to cut off the ends of the gathering knot. And now you have made your first tassel. Now continue making the remainder of the tassels 7 more times. Once you have finished all 8 tassels, cut off the excess cords at the bottom and make sure all tassels are the same length. And now you have completed the first part of my macrame wall hanging layer series. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and stay tuned for next week's tutorial on how we can add more layers to this macrame piece.